The summer sun beat down on Amos Turner's weathered porch, where the old man knelt by his tomato patch, coaxing vines with hands rough as the gravel driveway. Dust hung in the air, untouched by rain for weeks, curling like smoke behind a sleek black SUV that screeched to a halt, blocking the gate to Amos's land. Out stepped Vivian Caldwell, heels stabbing the earth, her manicured hands clutching a clipboard like a weapon. She was the self-appointed enforcer of the Pine Hills HOA, 5 miles down the road, and today she'd come for blood. "You're out of line again, old man," she snapped, flipping through laminated papers. "Your shed's 3 feet too close to the easement, and that Godawful green? It's supposed to be desert beige." Amos stood slowly, wiping dirt on his jeans, his eyes narrowing. That shed, built with his father 60 years ago, had weathered storms, floods, and every busybody who thought they could rewrite his property line. "This land's mine," he said, voice low and gritty. "You've got no say here." Vivian smirked, stepping closer, her voice dripping with venom. "Zoning laws don't care about your little family stories. You'll get fined big this time. Dare you to call the sheriff. Let's see how long that shed stands when real authority shows up." Behind her, the garage door creaked, metal grinding upward inch by inch. Vivian didn't notice, too caught up in her own tirade. But Amos did. Standing in the shadows, framed by the light, was Sheriff Clara Turner, Amos's daughter, a wrench in one hand, her badge glinting on her belt. Grease streaked her flannel, but her calm was lethal. Vivian's rant faltered as she turned and saw the law she'd mocked, already watching her. "You wanted the sheriff?" Clara said, wiping her hands on a rag, her voice cutting through the dry air. "I'm right here." Vivian froze, her clipboard trembling. She'd expected a frail old farmer, not a sheriff who looked like she could break up a bar fight without blinking. Clara stepped forward, slow and deliberate. "You're standing on my father's land, waving papers that don't apply past that fence. This isn't your jurisdiction, and that map you're holding? It's for the new subdivision, 2 miles east. You're out of your depth." Vivian's face flushed, but she doubled down, pointing at Amos. "This property's under review. The HOA has rights." Clara cut her off, flicking the papers with a finger. "You're harassing a private citizen on private land. Keep pushing, and I'll be the one filing reports." The silence stretched, broken only by the wind. Vivian pivoted, stomping back to her SUV, tires spitting gravel as she sped off. Amos glanced at Clara, the corner of his mouth twitching. "Took your time." She shrugged, heading back to the garage. Let her dig her own grave first. Vivian didn't retreat, she escalated. By Monday, a white pickup rolled up, and a man in a neon vest stepped out, clipboard in hand, claiming a random zoning audit. Clara was on the porch, coffee in hand, and called him out before he crossed the gate. "Who sent you?" she asked, voice flat. He stammered, flashing a flimsy ID, but Clara didn't buy it. "The county doesn't send auditors without notice, and your badge looks like it came off a printer." She snapped a photo of his face and license plate, giving him 2 choices: give his name or wait for the county clerk to verify him. He bolted, tires squealing. Clara jotted notes, her jaw tight. "She's getting sloppy," she told Amos. That afternoon, she called the county. No audit existed. The man, one Victor Hayes, wasn't on their payroll. Clara filed a report for trespassing and impersonation, adding his plate number and photos to the growing file. Word spread fast. Neighbors stopped by with pies and stories of their own HOA battles. Miss Ellie from the feed store cackled about that HOA vulture running into Clara. Old Hank dropped off a faded map of the county's original parcels, muttering about pushing back. It wasn't just support, it was a line in the sand. Vivian, meanwhile, was raging in the HOA boardroom, slamming her clipboard on the table during a budget meeting. "We have a problem," she barked, painting Amos as a defiant squatter and glossing over Clara's involvement. She pushed for a zoning reassessment, claiming the Turner land might fall under HOA review if they could exploit outdated county overlays. Tim, the HOA president, a nervous man in socks and sandals, hesitated. "Their land predates our subdivision. This could backfire." Vivian leaned in, eyes sharp. "Then we bury them in paperwork until that shed's gone." A younger board member, Lila, spoke up. "Isn't Clara the sheriff? You're picking a fight you can't win." Vivian's jaw twitched, but she pressed on, desperate for control. By Thursday, a letter appeared in the Turners' mailbox, no stamp, no return address. It listed absurd violations, excessive rooster noise, non-compliant paint, improper signage. Clara read it twice, spotting inconsistencies, and called Tim. "Did you authorize this?" He sighed. "Vivian's acting alone. No one signed off. She's obsessed." Clara scanned the letter and sent it to the county attorney, flagging it as misrepresentation. Amos, unfazed, used it to prop open the porch door. "Guess I've got time to fix the shed," he said, grabbing a rake. That night, Clara went public, inviting Dana, a local reporter, to the ranch. Over coffee, she laid out everything. The fake inspector, the forged letter, the zoning lies. Dana's eyes lit up. This'll hit a nerve. The next morning, the headline screamed, "Sheriff's family targeted by rogue HOA leader." The story went viral, with locals flooding the comments with their own HOA horror stories. A regional news station called for an interview. Vivian saw the article and nearly choked. Her name appeared 5 times, Victor's pixelated face unmistakable. Her phone buzzed with furious texts from neighbors and board members. She tried calling Tim, who didn't answer. Lila told her the board was holding an emergency meeting to review her actions. For the first time, Vivian felt the ground shift. She wasn't in charge anymore. Back at the ranch, Clara handed Amos the paper, his photo in the corner. "Look like I'm about to arrest the chickens," he grunted. "You look like a man who's had enough," Clara said. They knew Vivian wouldn't quit. She'd spiral, not surrender. Sure enough, at noon, Vivian's SUV roared up the drive, dust swirling. She stepped out, no smirk, just a cold, calculated glare, followed by a nervous lawyer, Martin Wells, clutching a briefcase. "Final warning," she said, voice like ice. "Remove the shed in 48 hours, or we're suing for property devaluation and noncompliance." Clara emerged from the garage, rag in hand, and read the cease and desist aloud for Amos. "So this is what desperation looks like," she said, smiling faintly. Vivian bristled. "You're not above the law." Clara stepped closer, holding the envelope. "Neither are you. This land's outside your jurisdiction. We've got the county, the maps, and your cousin Victor's booking for impersonation. Push this to court, and discovery will bury you." Martin cleared his throat, muttering about zoning ambiguity, but Clara shut him down. "You'll lose before it's heard. We're filing a countersuit if this costs us a dime." Vivian's face twitched, but she had no comeback. She stormed off, Martin trailing, her SUV vanishing in a cloud of dust. The next day, Clara filed the notice with the county clerk, along with survey maps, trespassing logs, and a letter from the zoning commissioner confirming the Turners' exemption. The clerk laughed. "Aesthetic disruption? That's a new one." The story spread a podcast called Vivian, the Clipboard Queen, and callers shared tales of HOA tyranny. Then the hammer fell. The county commissioner visited the HOA office, suspending Vivian pending an ethics review. Tim announced a review of her complaints, promising apologies for any found malicious. Vivian stormed out, her SUV screeching away. At the ranch, Amos and Clara sat on the porch, the air lighter. Neighbors brought gifts. A plaque reading "This land stands" now hung on the shed. Kids from a school project visited, snapping photos and asking about the land's history. Amos pointed to the tomatoes. Clara told stories of storms and salvaged lumber. "They'll forget this someday," Amos said. "Not today," Clara replied. They hung a tin sign by the mailbox. "No trespassing by order of common sense." That night, under a navy sky, they sat with cold drinks, the shed glowing in the moonlight. "Ever think we'd fight an HOA over a shed?" Clara asked. Amos smirked. "Back then, the only rule was don't shoot the well. Now they want to regulate your dirt." They laughed, the quiet holding them. The land was theirs, untouched by Vivian's papers or threats. And if another came, daring Amos to call the law, he'd just open the garage door. Clara would be there, boots on gravel, badge in view, ready to remind them. Some fences hold without being painted beige.